It's your boy DJ B. Lee, coming from the 614, repping that up, no matter what the zip code, on the Tattoo Shop Radio. You did? I knew you.
Welcome back to Healing with Miss Peggy.
What is dual diagnosis rehab? In a variety of circumstances, a person may have a dual diagnosis. Dual diagnosis refers to a person who has both mental health and substance abuse issues. Comorbidity, or co-occurring mental health and substance use disorders, is another term for it. Dual diagnosis treatment is available in rehab centers, and it combines substance abuse treatment with mental health treatment. Only addressing one problem may put the person at a risk of relapse. Those with dual diagnoses can receive specialized treatment at rehab centers. Treating all co-occurring conditions at the same time with a combination of therapy and, in some cases, medication yields the best results, both in terms of short and long-term recovery. We can assist you or a loved one who is suffering from both mental health and a substance use disorder. We will help you navigate the dual diagnosis treatment programs that will address both diagnoses and get you on the right track to better treatment results. Call our 24/7 helpline right now to learn more about our comprehensive treatment plans. Does someone you love suffer from drug addiction? Don't wait until it's too late. Call our 24/7 helpline at 1-800-570-2259. A caring addiction specialist is awaiting your call.
Wow, I really did.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, autism affects an estimated 1 in 54 children in the United States. You've probably heard a lot of thoughts and ideas about autism, but here's an overview of what we know. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects a person's social and communication abilities. Persons with ASD also have areas of strong interest and sometimes have repetitive behavior and sensory sensitivities. Autism is sometimes associated with strengths in the areas of visual memory, music, art, math, and science, but each person with ASD is unique. Autism is a spectrum disorder and varies significantly from person to person. Some people with ASD may require significant support in their daily lives, while others may need less support, and some live entirely independently. Changes in brain development associated with autism begin during the prenatal period. These changes are associated with differences in genetics. It is possible to diagnose ASD when a child is between 18 and 24 months of age. Early behavioral intervention helps children with autism learn to communicate and socially interact and has a significant impact on long-term outcome. Support for learning social and communication skills can be helpful throughout adolescence and adulthood. People with autism sometimes have other conditions, such as higher rates of sleep disorders, ADHD, anxiety, depression, and gastrointestinal issues. Treating these co-occurring conditions can make a big difference. As adults, people on the autism spectrum can become employed and contribute in important ways to society. The world is a better place if the qualities of people who are neurodiverse are accepted and valued. The Duke Center for Autism and Brain Development provides state-of-the-art, interdisciplinary clinical care, conducts cutting-edge research, trains the next generation of scientists, and advocates for public policies to help ensure people with autism reach their full potential.
I don't know what everybody say.
Welcome back.
Hello, y'all, and welcome. I am your Miss Peg, y'all, and we are healing through autumn's way through. We just are. We are here from Columbus, Ohio, and every week we are here every Tuesday night, and that is thanks to DJ B Lethal for building everything that he has built through Linda's Legacy radio stations. We are on LLR streaming live now through YouTube. We're everywhere. I just want to thank everyone that is with us, that joins us each and every week. What we do here is so important. We fight addiction any and every way that we can, and we lift everyone up and do everything that we possibly can. Here at Autumn's Way, we talk about things sometimes that people don't want to talk about. We have a long, long list of things that we do, and that's all we do. We spread love and hope, and to let everyone know that you are not struggling alone. We have numbers and resources to help. And if you are here in Columbus, in the 614 area, I will definitely come and pick you up and give you a ride to a rehabbing clinic. And everyone knows that. We thank you. And I want to shout out to Mr. J for still continuing on everything you're doing. I love you. And so he just wanted me to say that, and that's all we're saying. So shout out to Mr. J. I love you, and you keep going, and don't you ever stop. What we do here, this has been 3 years. The vital information that has been passed on, that is connected, that is still, it's an outreach every week. Just to connect with other places, other rehabs, anyone that is doing anything. It is so greatly appreciated. And this is a community platform. Autumn's Way is. It is here for everyone to share, love, grow, and connect. And I want to truly thank Miss Merica Cole for everything that you do. You are so beautiful, and we are blessed to have you with us. And we have a lot. I know that you have. I want you to just go ahead and introduce yourself, tell people who you are. It's truly a blessing, like I said, to have you with us. And I want to just uplift our angels. They're uplifting us. Their energy, their love that they left us. That's how we get through, is through the love. I just want to say this. People, death is inevitable. It's a life cycle. And like I said, we say things that sometimes people may not want to hear, but it is loving and with all respect. As we uplift, we are healing, and we just want people to know that when someone that we love, our family, my daughter, our children, our family members, when they leave us, they leave their love and their energy for us. That's what we have. Excuse me. It's their love. And I truly believe that their love will guide us, and it truly will keep us going. When we lose a loved one, the grief will overpower us, and it will overtake you. And it will. And we want people to know that there is love, that we're wrapping our arms around you right now. If you have recently lost anyone, we want you to know that they are here with you always. They are always with us. And I just wanted to just put that out there to let people know that we have love, we're spreading love, and that's what we do. And I love what we're talking about tonight because autism affects so many families as well. And I just want to welcome again, I want to welcome you again, Ms. Cole. And thank you always, always for all your information. Um, Chrissy did want me to express to you her gratitude and how thankful that she is to you for all of her help and what she is going through as well.
Thank you. You're welcome. And I was hoping she could be here tonight because this is an important, important subject. My name is Marica Cole, and I am here to talk about autism and dual diagnosis. And, a lot of people are unaware where autism comes from or where it originates from. And there's every indication to show that it is hereditary. It's very hereditary. And a lot of people have talked about immunizations, but I'm not an expert on immunizations, but I do know that all of the people that I do run across that are on the spectrum, it seems to be a pattern in families. So the ranges could be anywhere from non-speaking, non-verbal, way up to Asperger's, which is genius. They just know things, how they do things. They could read at 3 and 4 years old. They're just very, very smart. But then you have everything all in between. That's why they changed it from the term autism to on the spectrum, because there's everything in between. From the nonverbal, you could be OCD, where you are compulsive and or might label things, or you have to have things in a certain order, or you get disconnected, discombobulated. It really bothers you. So one of the things that I want to talk about is I'll tell you, 4 out of my 5 boys are on the spectrum. There's no doubt in my mind. I have an older one that he has no empathy built in to his system, no empathy, sympathy. Um, he doesn't cry. It's the only time I've ever seen him cry is when I cry. Then it affects him. He'll cry. But other than that, it's rare. He will talk about himself, very self-centered. That's part of Asperger's. But he's very bright. He can pass tests. He is in the army. He's going up the ranks because his servant, his special skill, is collecting badges. He loves collecting badges. So he's been collecting hero badges and climbing up the ranks successfully. So you can be on the spectrum and be successful. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It is it's a specialty. And that's why I tell parents that your child is not misbehaving. He's just misunderstood. They're just wired different, and it's okay to be different. And then you have nonverbal. And one of the things that I can say about children that do not talk is autism is a learned behavior. When you have a child that doesn't talk and they go to behavioral therapy, what's called ABA, it's a behavioral therapy, they can learn to mimic and to copy, and they call it echolalia. They're echolalic. They will echo what you say and they can put it together in their mind. If they say water, they know it's associated with a drink. If they say certain thing, they learn it. They can learn it. So even they have a special way of learning as well. Um, then you have people, go ahead. I didn't know somebody had a question. And then you have where somebody might be a germaphobe. They cannot um, shake hands. They are afraid of germs. And I know of a friend of mine, her son will take a shower, but he will not wash his hands in the sink. There's something about the water where the filter is for when you get your drinking water. He will not wash his hands because he feels like the sink is contaminated, and that little filter is there for a reason, so there's no way he will wash his hands in the sink. So it is something that, she had to work through, and he had to learn. Because they're very bright, they can learn. So I know a lot of people, and my son in particular as well, was diagnosed with ADHD, meaning that he hypersensitivity. He's just, can't focus, and kind of all over the place. And that's what they diagnosed him as at first. But I noticed, and if anyone notices, if they can focus on a video game, if they can focus on something that they like, whether it be Legos, drawing, and they have deep concentration, that is not ADHD or ADD. Because if you can do that, then it's something else going on. People and children, especially with ADHD, they'll start an art project and then jump to something else. They can't sit still, not even through a video game. There's no way. So he was misdiagnosed and was taking medication, and they were overlooking the fact that he had Asperger's. Okay. And so I thought to myself, there's something wrong, because he still has the same behavior. And what I learned, that when they can focus, or they don't have social cues, and it is more prevalent as they get older, you will realize they can't multitask, they have difficulty. Some of the children can do more than, one or two things, but not more than that. It would be too much. It's overwhelming, and it's like a volcano, and they'll say stop, and nothing gets done. If you overwhelm them, nothing gets done. So my kids are blessings, and they surprise me all the time, because they know things that I don't know. And I'm not the type that will say, hey, I'm the mom, I should know more than you. No, they know things that I have no idea where they learned it. And I have to actually look it up. And I'm like, you know what? He's right. So, yeah, I stand corrected as a mom. And I've learned how to get them out of defense mode, because they already know they're different. So they're in defense mode, like, why are you looking at me? Like, why are you talking like that? They just automatically are in defense mode. So I always remind them how beautiful they are. And I let them know that, hey, how are you doing today? And let them talk. Let them tell you. And if you want them to do something for you, all you have to do is ask, and they will do it. But if you tell them, it's not going to get done. I've learned that the hard way. I would just say, hey, you're always so good at cleaning your room. Do you think you can do that? And that's what they'll do. They're like, yeah, I can do that. And I was very surprised how important communication is with them. So that's a nutshell in my experience with 4 out of my 5 boys that are on the spectrum, but in very different ways. Do you have any questions, Miss Peggy?
Miss Cole, that is so much great knowledge. I, my family, we have some beautiful, beautiful spectrums, and I just want to say that small not small. I mean, when they're little and they're babies, it's small, but I want to say geniuses. And as they grow, I'm just telling you, professors, doctors, you never know, musicians, um, doctors, nurses. It
Artists.
is, yes, I'm telling you, it is absolutely phenomenal of the intelligence, you know, um, and that's why I think that this is so, so, so important. Misdiagnosis, dual diagnosis, there's so much that is misunderstood. So many doctors, because you only get so many minutes with a doctor. And if you're really not really pushing, they don't really do an explicit tests and studies and talk to the person, do blood work, and absolutely know that person. So many are so misdiagnosed. And
Yes.
I think that's why some of the medications that are giving, like you said, one person feels one way and when they see things one way. We see things another. Everyone sees things. Everyone has a perception. And there is so much that people deal with. There's so many things, the way they see things. So there is different levels of many levels of autism, many levels of ADHD, many levels of Asperger's. There's many levels, and there is so much medication is passed out, I think, so quickly.
Yes.
Not, it is a very good thing, because some people suffer from nightmares. Some people don't sleep. Some people, it's all they do is sleep. So certain medications affect each and every one differently. And it's just so important, I think, that everything, all the videos that we've played tonight, it was so important.
Right.
But
And the one of the things to remember is that growing up, the child will feel different. And one of the things that somebody that is on the spectrum, what they want to do is fit in. And they will do silly things. They'll do things that we call misbehaving. And they'll do things to just try to please people, just to be liked. And one of the things that I can tell you is that my son just wanted to make friends and keep friends. And that's very difficult if you're a little bit awkward or if you have all this knowledge in your head and nobody understands you. So I am just in a situation that I will um, say for dual diagnosis as a person gets older, they will try to self medicate if it's not diagnosed properly. So, one of the things that I recommend people to do is give it the right diagnosis or get somebody that is well versed in autism to help out because I know when I see some people on the street, there's no doubt in my mind that they have something going on, and it could be anxiety and depression that causes. My son had a lot of anxiety and depression because he was on the spectrum, but in the beginning he didn't know what was wrong with him. So when we see addiction on the street or we see people looking, they're not sure why they keep repetitively doing the same thing. And this is why people do go in and out of rehabilitation or rehab because they're not looking at maybe this person needs the mental help that's causing them to use, which I'm telling you, there's not enough dual diagnosis centers that address mental health and a substance use disorder or an addiction. So
I agree with that
one,
100%. Even in our city, we do have a lot of rehabs, but as when people are arrested, they go before the judge. The judge, I very seldom see, unless it's a drug court situation for some of the prostitution cases, unless it's drug court, they only offer maybe rehab in those cases. Okay, these ladies may be struggling with other issues as well. The judge does not offer, um, per se, hospital, or they just offer jail, 10, 12 days. Some of them get that, then they're back out on the street after 12, 15, maybe 20 days at the most on some of these charges, before they go back to court. So a lot of them are in and out of jail so quickly. And, I think that there's just a lot of programs that they say that they offer, but I'm really, and I am speaking on that, I don't see where those programs, where are they really being offered at? Because some of
I
these
can
people
answer,
that
I can
are
help
at,
answer that.
because some of these people are really truly wanting help, and the ones that truly want it, um, most of the
Can't get it.
programs, no, some of the programs work and some of them don't. Some of the programs are very, very structured, and that's why a lot of them don't work, so, but with some of our hospitals, just, in our court, it's just not helping. You put someone in jail for 10 days, for 15 days, but what about their schizophrenia? What about their bipolar? What about their, ADHD? What about um, so many others? Uh, Asperger's, for instance. So many. There's so many issues
Right.
that are missed, and as well.
Have you ever run across somebody that they're right and you're wrong? They're right and you're wrong, and they will stick to their guns. And this is one of the things that happens in court.
Yes.
They should have more mental health courts because there's ways they don't have the professionals, number one, in the court system or in the policing system to say, hey, you know what? I think this person's on the spectrum. That if they're repetitively doing something, there's a possibility that they are in the moment. They live in the moment. They don't see consequence of their action. They just are a doer.
Mhm.
And those are the ones that need to be diagnosed and, um, you know, they go through a program so that they can learn to see consequence. Some of them cannot see the consequence of their action until after it's done. And then they say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I realize now, but the action was already done. It's too late. There are clearly, I've been sitting in some of the courts, there are people that will just nod their head, agree with the judge, and they do not understand what nodding their head and agreeing actually means for them. And they just have to know that if somebody that is very young, that has a record from the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, and they're in and out of juvenile hall and are doing the same things over and over again, there might be a problem there. And those things are not being looked at. as maybe this person has a disability. Let's find out why they're doing those things and actually ask them instead of putting them in the criminal system. And it traumatizes them, by the way. If you are on the spectrum and you are going through something in your head that nobody understands, not even that person, and they're thrown into a legal system where they could be beat up, where they could be picked on, they're already picked on. It causes trauma, additional trauma, and they wonder why people on the streets. There are some people that are combative. There are some people that just want to keep to themselves. There are some people that just will do anything to keep friends on the street. I see all kinds of people that have a mental health disorder, and they have a substance use disorder. They use because they're trying to feel normal, and then with their sometimes the drug causes schizophrenia. So it works hand in hand, and the courts are not looking at this situation. And the programs that are available, and it's pretty sad, you have to have a certain kind of insurance, or you have to have, some people don't qualify for Medi-Cal. And I think that if you have a disability, they should automatically qualify, that should automatically qualify a person. And there's a lot of stopping blocks, but the federal money that comes in for these programs, and you've got to agree with this, a lot of the money gets misspent. It's not spent correctly. It's not going to the right sources. And part of the problem is they don't understand it. They don't understand what's needed. I've gone to the mayor, Daryl Steinberg, in California, and I said, how do you get rid of the homeless situation if you're not looking at their mental health? And if you know that they may have a mental health problem, that could cause them to use. And here you have people that are homeless. They probably lost their job because of substance use disorder, and nothing's being addressed. The mental health and dual diagnosis centers are not there. They have to be able to assess, number one, why is the person using? Is it a childhood trauma? Is it something that is, are they on the spectrum? You have to ask yourself, is it because they're high functioning and their gears just won't turn off? And they always have to fiddle with things and take things apart. I've seen a lot of people just tinkering all day long. And I'm like, this is what they do, But the mayor doesn't understand it because he thinks, a lot of people think crazy. And it's not. It's just they're different. I'm on the spectrum. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm on the spectrum. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because there's a lot of things that I want to do, and there's things that I just get it done. And through my experiences in life and what I've seen in rehabilitations, through my youngest son who has passed away, he's right behind me right there. He was kicked out of a dual diagnosis center because they couldn't handle the fact that he would blurt. Asperger's, they blurt things and they'll tell you just like it is.
Yes.
And he would hurt people's feelings, and he's not doing it on purpose. And he would just say, oh, I shouldn't have said that, after he realizes, it's after the fact, he realizes he shouldn't have said it. And I reminded them that you are a dual diagnosis center. It is your job to educate each student that he has a different condition, and he may blurt something out. It's okay. He doesn't mean anything by it. They weren't doing their job as a dual diagnosis center to inform everybody that it's okay to be different.
No. And every day, again, that's why We're all here. The community is here. You're in California. And I thank you so, 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 so much. Charlie is with us always as well. Chrissy is usually with us, but you know, the subject of dual diagnosis is not spoke about enough. Um, Miss Cole, everything that you just said is, oh, my lady, it is so, 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 so true. There are so many, our communities, I think that our communities, centers can do better with the money that they are supposedly already have or can get, or they say that they are doing. It is truly, communities are suffering. There's a lot of people that are living on the street with mental health. Like you said, they are scared of people that come if they're, dressed a certain way. They're scared. They will not talk to them. They will go and hide. And that, again, is not addressed very much in our communities. And these people are forever running instead of running to get help. It's a lot of misplaced people. Again, our communities, we could absolutely do better. And so, hopefully, by us absolutely speaking, doing what we do, that we can absolutely bring awareness and just understanding. I'm not for sure. Um, Someone has a lot of.
I don't know what that noise is, but someone has their, like an amplifier or like an amp too damn high or a broken stereo.
No stereos. No.
I'm gonna log on out, man. I can't hear nothing.
There is. We are in some technical static. Well, we're having some. We don't know.
I'm muted, so it's not me. Is it when I'm talking? I can't hear you, Miss Peggy.
Oh, okay, am I muted?
Yeah. I just want to make sure it wasn't me.
No,
I
it's
have my
not.
settings.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Okay. I just wanted to
no,
make
it's
sure.
not. No, it's not. It's so, 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 so many. We truly are. A lot of family and a lot of family members are being displaced because of a lot of. We're just going to try to hold on just for a moment.
Yeah, I just think that it's easier for society to isolate people and to not deal with it. And they think that's the way to solve the problem. And it's not fair to those that are on the spectrum that they're treated like this. And from the beginning, when they start school, I think around the fourth grade is when it starts coming out, or they want to be the center of attention. When everyone's in line, they want to be out of line. When everyone is in sync, they're out of sync, and so they're poked at, they're made fun of, and this starts this the bullying starts. And it's so sad that a lot of people that I talk to, their child was bullied in school, and then the school gets mad because you remove your child out of the school because they get paid. Okay, so the public school district gets paid per child. And when a child is, I homeschooled my kids because I'm like, I'm homeschooling them because, I'd rather them be at home and rather than to be at school and bullied. And they learned a lot and they passed all the state tests because, they're on the spectrum, of course. And they passed all the state tests, and it's just safer. It's safer. But what happens when they get to a point and they get older? I think somebody doesn't have their microphone muted. Um, so what happens is when they get to an age where it is easy for them to be influenced because, they were bullied, so they don't have a lot of friends and they're going to hold on to their friends. That's when some of the substances, they start experimenting with substances to fit in, or to that makes me feel normal. And but they don't, their actions are less than normal. Let me tell you, you know my child was off the hook sometimes, and I was like, what is going on? Well, somebody talked him into doing something, and or taking something. And it happens all the time, though. It happens all the time. He said it made him feel normal, but he doesn't even realize what it actually does. We have a lot of the stuff is just overlooked because they don't have the guidance. They're just left to be on their own. Mom's working 2 jobs, dad's working, or there's no dad. There might be a single parent. And it's hard. It's easier just to leave the child alone in front of a TV or give them a video game and say, you're good. Hey, are you doing okay? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then here they are down Spectrum Alley just doing their own thing. And then when they become adults, they wonder what's going on and why they're just not diagnosed. They're just not diagnosed. And when substance use gets um, combined with that child or grown adult that's on the spectrum, it is something that it collides like oil and water. It collides like oil and water without therapy, without therapy, a dual diagnosis therapy on top of that. It's not just any therapy, because you can be therapeutic and not address their drug issue, or you can address their drugs and not address their therapeutic, what's going on with them mentally. It's a big mistake not to combine those two and try to solve the issue of why they're doing this and why they're doing, and how to soothe that so that they don't turn to substances to feel better or feel normal or feel like they have to fit in.
And I think that's what a lot of schools, there's a lot of bullying going on in schools. And, a lot of children, especially children that are different in any way, if they don't even wear the same, you know, if there's not brand name clothes, there's a lot of stuff going on, and these children have to deal with a lot. And especially, if a child is on a spectrum of being autism, and they're good in one, they're so smart in so many different ways, they're so funny, you know, just loving personalities, just, um, they're genius. I'm just saying, Alta is just genius. their minds, what they can create. I mean, is truly, truly genius. And like you said, without dual diagnosis centers that we do not have, because we have doctors that have 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes with the patient. You get 15, 20 minutes, that's a lot. Usually it's 10 minutes and they're out the door. If you don't go in and ask specific questions and ask them to run certain tests, they will never be done. You know, so that's why, it is so, so, so important. We do have some mental health clinics, but again, they give you a counselor. You're there 20, 30 minutes. People are out the door. And if this medication is not working, they try this, try this, try this. But they're adding so many different medications together. It's how much research has been done to combine so many medications together as well. And that's another thing, Miss Cole, that I think that is so important that we're talking about this tonight as well, is the facilities are absolutely not. Maybe very few are prepared. Maybe there's very few that can really handle the situations, but like we just said, and you just said, they're not there. They're not there, not as an intense as we need. We have 1,000 people going to jail a day in each city and state. And we have had a gentleman on here that spent 5 years in prison. He is correctional advisors from Washington, Seattle, Washington. Shout out to Correctional Advisors, one of our sponsors as well. We thank you, Steve. He will be joining us in a week or two as well, jumping on with us as well, because he helps people when they get out of prisons. And what he said, Merica, was that when people, say that there's 500 people arrested, 250 of those people are in and out of prisons. They are not diagnosed with proper medications because of some form of mental health issue that is never prescribed medication, that is never caught. They're seen when they come in through the prison systems, and they are seeing a doctor or what have you. But as far as they can only do so much as well, I guess that's what I'm saying. They can only do so much as well. Okay, these people get out and they go right back in. And that is because he said, some of them, a lot of people have autism. A lot of people have all kinds of different mental health issues that were never diagnosed. So they're back out, still in cars. Not that were bad or doing anything. They were just maybe, they're back out doing drugs, or they're back out doing things that they normally may not would have been doing if they had been, per se, on medication with family member, or with just the right medications, being diagnosed with the right outreach, getting a job, helping them, instead of them being reincarcerated into a jail or prisons again. Instead of the
Yeah,
more
and
outreach,
yeah.
it's just, yeah.
No, I know that I am so glad you're going to have an expert on here, because sometimes they're in a program, and even the person that is overseeing the program could be unaware that there is, what dual diagnosis is. It's just not talked about. And unless you're in it like me, I was thrown in it with all my children except for one. And it was something like, how could they not see this? How could they not know this? And it's the it's the people that become victims that are not diagnosed correctly. When I say they become victims, it's the victims of society, victims of the legal system, victims of the streets. And so it's very important that people understand, and I hope that people are hearing this, because this is happening so often. It's happening so often, and I see it. I can see it clearly, but when I address it to the mayor or anybody that's in legislature, it's like we're limited. We have limited resources. Well, you can have limited resources, but you're going to always have problems. And it is totally unfair to the person that's on the spectrum. It's totally unfair because they're not being serviced by the healthcare system, whether it's the free healthcare system or a paid healthcare system. They're not being serviced because we had healthcare, and they were misdiagnosed. They just don't have the skill level to understand. And if I go into, like, let's say I volunteer and I say, hey, you know what, I can help you diagnose, people that are on the spectrum because I'm pretty good at it. And they'll say, but you don't have a PhD, you don't have a master's, you don't have, but you know what? I will tell you, in society, and you can tell me if I'm right, experience sometimes it supersedes book smart. It's I'm telling you, it supersedes book smart. You can read a book, doesn't mean you understand what is going on. You have to have someone with experience to say, but that's not what that means in your book.
Exactly. And, I do want to say too, there are a lot of service workers that work directly with children that have no children. They have no children at all. Most of them are not even married or have children. They have a textbook. They read it out of a textbook, and this is what protocol, and this is what they go by. That is not right. That is not, they call it right because that's the procedure. Again, this is why I love you, Merrick. This is why. Because this is what is going on in our communities. This is a big, big reason why I think that we are losing so many people to addiction. We are losing people because they have disconnected the our communities, with COVID shutting down so many things and so many people feeling alone at that time, that time period, 2 years, not really being able, limited contact. That will affect a lot of people's mental health. They didn't even want family members to even go spend Christmas with your own family members the first year of COVID. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but when the first year, they didn't even want, don't go visit. I mean, this is to the point of, again, I'm getting back to the vaccines, Ms. Cole. When they are administering vaccines again, the vaccines are supposed to prevent certain conditions. Okay, the vaccines, when we give our children as little, we have read, everyone reads, and as you were speaking when we first started tonight, uh, sometimes they say giving certain vaccines at certain ages can and may cause, I mean, that is things that they put on the information before you vaccinate the children. But how many of them are effective, when it really, really comes down to this? And when they want to give this so willingly and pay people for so much things, but yet we don't have time to sit here with our child and let's diagnose them because they're not sleeping. They're not sleeping. They're up for a day, or they go into a room, they have a meltdown. Where's the help for that? Where is the time for that? They have time for them to stand before a judge in front of a courtroom, for them to judge them for prison or this or that. But where was the doctor when they can plainly see that this person is having a mental breakdown in front of them? They can plainly see and look at a person that is broken, that they know in some way or the other that needs help, whether it be
Yeah,
addiction, mental health. If a judge, they see that, a judge has the right to instruct them to hospitals, then jail. We have facilities for that. Well, where is the rest of that, though? That's another thing with the mental health is not enough. And they want to say certain things about, I just want to be careful about how I say certain things because of, you know,
experience. Yeah,
yes, um, there are certain, I think, entities may want people to believe one thing, and they want to give us things all the time that are not completely right for our bodies, you know.
correct, correct. And I'll chime in on that because I'll say what you're not gonna say because I'm
I,
okay
yeah,
with saying it.
I appreciate you and I love you. You don't know how much your experience, your knowledge, this all needs to be heard, and it will. It is just replayed a lot of places. So I appreciate you more than you know. We do.
No worries. A lot of times when anybody goes to the hospital, I can tell you that pharmaceuticals, they will go to hospitals and they will promote their medications, and they get incentives by pushing certain medications. That's just what they are being offered. And there is special incentives to put, there's a lot of money in diabetes, there's lot of money in insulin, there's a lot of money in we know about the opioid crisis and what happened with the Sackler family and the greed that happened with Purdue. And there's just, they put money over the common sense and the health of the patient. It's all pretty clear to us that certain medications were pushed. My son was diagnosed with ADHD. They were wrong. I said, I don't think that's it because I clearly can see that he can concentrate well. Try this medication, we'll up it. And it didn't make a difference. And it was not good for him. So one of the things that I've learned that I had to be patient. I wanted to call them out right away on it, and I just had to switch what I was doing and go to another facility that paid attention. And I found out, this is where I found out about Alta Regional Centers. It's called Alta Regional Centers, and they specifically diagnose for autism. So they're in most states. Okay, some states you might have to go to the next county to see the Alta Regional, directors, and they have a path that they use to diagnose children and adults with autism, and adults, because adults, it's hard to function and do adult things when you're trapped in your head. Your gears start turning. You don't know why you're taking things apart. You don't know why you're repeating yourself. You don't know why you have certain behaviors, so you rather stay home and stay secluded and not talk to people. Hard to work, people are looking at them, they feel it. So going back onto the medications, it's the only thing that I'm aware of, and I could be wrong, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not. The anxiety, once you get that anxiety level down, because it takes anti-anxiety medication, all the other stuff that's going on with them is a learned behavior. They go to behavioral therapy and they learn that it is okay. It's okay to not wash your hands over here. Why don't you do it this way? Put this water in a bowl, just a roundabout way, behavioral therapy to help them understand that it's okay. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not wash your hands like that. Do it this way. But they also have to teach them behaviors in public so that they know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, because everyone has boundaries, everybody, including the person that's on the spectrum, everybody has boundaries, but they're taught those boundaries. And I really appreciate it, because I had no idea as a mom. I'm like, you do this because I told you. You're supposed to clean your room. Everything's a negative, negative, negative. And when I had to learn through taking them to behavioral therapy that I needed that too. I needed to not be the right one because I'm the parent. It's okay to be wrong as a parent, and just to communicate differently and say, hey, do you think you can help me out? You're always so good. Hey, do you think you can take the garbage out for me? And just ask them. And they feel like they're being helpful because they are loving, they are funny, they have personality, and you bring out the best in them when you're not in a negative, or what they view as a negative behavior, because they're already in defense mode. So I hope that helps some people to understand. And when you are on the right medications, because you might have bipolar and there's medications for that, that's on the spectrum too. When you go out there and you experiment with other drugs or any other substances, those substances interfere with your regimen that keeps you okay. And when those outside substances interfere with your regimen that you learned in behavioral therapy and what's acceptable and not acceptable, those substances take everything you learn and just throw it in the trash for the minute. And that's where people start running into issues. They run into legal issues. They forget what they're taught because the substances take over. People, we can't have that here. I have to let you go. A lot of people have lost their jobs and they don't even know what they did wrong. They have no idea what they did wrong. So I want to chime in on that. The pharmaceuticals, they need to not push things that are not good. The doctor has to use common sense. And I can tell you, there's a lot of people that are just textbook and they go by the book. If you have this symptom, this is what you give them. If you have this symptom, this is what you give them. Being on the spectrum is totally different because there's different symptoms and there's different behaviors and that's why they call it the spectrum. And you can't use a textbook with someone that's on the spectrum. You have to dig deep and find out specifically for that one individual what's going on with them. It's so specific that unfortunately doctors are and even legislators are saying we need more resources, and we truly do. But accept the people that are aware of it and can help out and don't require like some this 10-year program that before you can speak to children. It's just not. Take the resources as you can get it. Take the resources if it's helpful. I specifically was talking to a lady that I've been helping, and her son was in and out of the system since he was about 12. And they never questioned why is he coming back the same month, sometime in the same month, sometimes every other month or every third month. He developed a record, what we call a record, like law enforcement looking like, whoa, this guy has a rap sheet. But it's the same behaviors, it's the same things. He's off the hook. Just talking to the parents, they didn't know anything about dual diagnosis. They had no idea about the spectrum. They just thought you need help. But the big question is, what help is out there? And you touched on it, Miss Peggy, that it's limited resources out there. We don't know. They talk about it all the time, but when you go to get those services, it's so difficult to get in. It's so difficult to get a diagnosis. It's like they need to cut all the red tape and let people in and be diagnosed with professionals that know what they're doing.
Yes, with clinical psychologists, psychiatric doctors, without them taking an hour, 2 hours with a patient, without them sitting there looking at their blood work, seeing what their DNAs, because, it can be, like you said, it could be like, genetically, it is something within, and that with research that if the right medications are administered. Look, we have geniuses. They are geniuses. For instance, my niece, I truly want everyone to uplift her as well because, after us losing Autumn in 2012, Jamie, my niece, she has called in, or I would not have said her first name, but she has called in and spoke, told her whole story of everything last year. So when she was small, before she went to kindergarten, she knew her first grade, she knew her times tables up to 12. Okay, that's how smart she was, so intelligent. Well, because she has three older brothers and sisters, plus Misty and Autumn, so they all used to play school. She was so smart. She's so intelligent. She'd go to school. She would never, ever be quiet, never sit down, disrupt the class, just do her work. All of her work is done. Everything was done correct. She would making straight A's. But because of her behavior, people would say something to him. She would just tell them to shut up. some people, if they would push her or trip her, she would turn around and just punch them. She would get expelled. I mean, she would literally like physically like attack them. Um, she just was anything. Someone would say something to her. She didn't care who or how big, male or female. She was, you know, would not, she was just like that. As time has went
It's
on,
called, it, yeah.
as times went on, she is now 34. She has been in and out of prison twice. She spent 2 years at a time, not jail, we're saying prison, twice. She's had a child that she's pretty, gave back to the father, which is a good thing. Nothing bad about that. But she has been was put on medication at an early age. The teacher said they just could not absolutely deal with her because she just wouldn't sit down. But the medications, like I said, from first grade, I think, it really affected her later on in life. She struggles with addiction very bad. She is now on fentanyl. I beg, plead with her to go to rehabs. She's like, oh, Aunt Peggy, she knows every rehab there is. She has been to quite a few. After prison, she got out, was in a halfway house. Of course, they offered many things, but, she was diagnosed with a few mental, like ADHD, different things, but she was going to college making straight A's. You're talking about an intelligent person that is on, the doctors, and her behavior is a lot sometimes, but it's like she truly needs help. And we just don't, God bless my sister-in-law that's passed away now, but we also spoke with the doctors about her and the medications that she took and has taken now since the drug use that she has. She needs heart medication she doesn't take. So, I do worry, wish her the best. And it's like, but she will not go to rehab. And now with the drugs and everything, it's just, it's, she is a mess. She will say that herself. I truly just wish her all the best that I possibly can. But I told her I call and check on her every couple of weeks when I don't see her on social media. And she's like, I'm doing okay, Aunt Peggy. And she'll tell me, people are overdosing around her. I'm like, Jamie, please, you really need to go to rehab. She's like, I'm not going. It's like a jail. It's this, it's that. There's too
It's way too structured.
Yeah. And that's the reason why I think a lot of our facilities are failing our people as well, because they are on the street. Okay, they have anxieties, they smoke cigarettes, whatever. If they go into a rehab, they don't want them to have a chocolate bar or a cola drink, or anything like that, or a Tylenol, because cigarette is nicotine. So that is a habit,
It's a stimulant.
Yes,
Like sugar.
caffeine.
No candy
Yes.
bars. No
Yeah,
soda.
yes, none of that. So some of these rehabs does not work because of that. We do have a lot of rehabs here in Ohio that you can bring all your snacks, snack cakes, pops, soda, whatever you want to bring with you. That type things. If you smoke, there is facilities that will allow that because they understand. But there's a few of them. Okay, there's not a whole lot of them that allow that at the facilities. So
Right.
again, we have multi-billion-dollar facilities that are absolutely just failing so many of our youth, our mothers, our fathers. you know, that no wonder we have 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds out here that here in Columbus, it's an epidemic of Kia boys still in cars that are 15 years old. Okay. Where's their mother? Where is their parents at 11:30 at night? At
And
11:30
I
at
can tell
night,
you,
and my 15-year
I
old, I don't care, male or female, there, you, I, I mean, no, you got school the next day. You have to be home, showered. At 10 o'clock, you got to be dinner, bath, and you need to you need to go to bed, watch TV, fall asleep. But at youth, you got to know who these people are absolutely with, and that's the thing. Is some of our parents. I just want to uplift everyone truly that is struggling with addiction right now, because there are so many parents um, that are struggling, and their children are struggling. And
and part of
that's the
that
reason why
struggle
we're
is
here, is just to give some hope.
mhm. Part of that struggle is because the spectrum, when kids are on the spectrum, it's so misunderstood, and some parents have no idea why they're doing. It's easier for them to say, like, you have to admit, some kids aren't telling the truth, but they're very smart. Hey, I'm going to go to Joey's house, we're going to be over there, and that's where they think they're going, and they're off stealing a car. And Joey's telling, hey, I'm going to be over at Randy's house, and they're both out stealing a car and joyriding or whatever it is they're doing. So I don't totally blame the parents, because sometimes I've seen kids cry in the store, and it's easier for the mama to give them what they want, and rather than to deal in discipline or say, you know what, not right now, maybe next time or whatever. But this is where I was listening to you and what you were saying about your niece, and it's important. And she was hitting on it when she was saying it doesn't work, because rehab in itself alone is not the answer if you're on the spectrum. She was very smart. She was reading early. She was doing all the things that I would say, hey, you know what? She's very smart. She's probably got Asperger's, but it's a plus. But without that behavioral therapy, it spirals out of control. And I said this early on, that it spirals out of
Yes.
control if it's not addressed at the 10, 11, 12-year-old stage, when peer pressure is everything. Peer pressure,
Yes.
and if you don't look a certain way, or if you don't think a certain way, or people think that, oh, you're a brainiac, and they start picking on you. And it starts early, and people don't understand why kids don't want to go to school. They will say, I'm sick. They will make things up, and parents are just saying, hey, you know what, you're not telling the truth. You're not telling the truth. You go to school. And they're throwing them into the lion's den, because they know what happens at school. They don't want to tell their mom or dad that they're getting punked at school. So they deal with it, which is another travesty to society. Some of these teachers know it, they see it, and they don't address it. They will see a child get picked on and not address it with the parent. And my son used to always tell me, because he blurted everything about what happens in school. And I was the type of parent that went to the school, and I said, I want to talk to the parents. I don't want to, and I want the principal and everybody, the teacher, in here, because this is being allowed. And I can't understand. And a lot of times the parents have no idea that their kids are bullies. They don't know. They don't know how they're behaving in school. And it's just something that needs to be addressed early on. Dual diagnosis as people get older, if they're on the spectrum, and they can be taught how not to turn to um, self-medicate or trust everyone. It could be, learning how to say no at an early age. Everything is learned. and that part is important. As soon as they're diagnosed with some type of spectrum disorder, it needs behavioral therapy needs to kick in, so it helps them throughout their teens, and it helps them to say no. It helps them to say, hey, it's okay to be different. So, you know, not to have that inward stress. Talk to your parents, tell them what's going on in school. Hey, you know, it's okay to be homeschooled. You know, a lot of people say I can't homeschool because I work. And I say to people, find an aunt, find a friend, find someone that can watch them during the day. As long as they do their homework, they can be homeschooled. And it's usually consisting of a homework packet that they can bring home and turn it in once a week. Sooner they can get it done, the more free time they have to do what they love to do, whether it's video games or you know, learning how to do tinker with things or whatever it is that they like to do. But your niece hit it right on. She said, you know, she's going in and out of rehab, and it's got to be correct. It's got to be something that's dealing with her anxiety and, you know, and substance use disorder. It's if
Yes,
if it's
she
not like that,
is.
she's going to go in and out. She's going to go in and out and give up.
This has been continuing, and this has been going on, and it's still continuing right now. You know, all we can do is just we ask her, please go to rehab. She told me there is one that she is going to contact that is here in Columbus. It is called Talbot Hall. It is a very good rehab facility here in Columbus. I do not have the number right in front of me at this moment, but she said that they are putting people to sleep during the withdrawal period for 3 days. She said because she's not going through it, she said if they do that, then she will go. I mean, this is a person that we're saying when was 17 and 18, 19 years old, that was going to go to college to be a private investigator. She was going to college. She was going to do, you know, all of this stuff and had started and went for a while. Then she met this boy, and then, well, that went all of that, you know. But she was doing very well, you know, at different points in her life. She has. And then when the drugs came, it just seems that she has been like this, you know, and um, it's just been ongoing. And she just keeps continuing talking about the different rehabs and what works and what's not working. And again, I think that, you know, she was seeing a doctor 5 or 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Again, I don't think that she was truly, really diagnosed as what was really going on with her because of, you know, you're talking a 6, 7 year old, they know their times tables all the way up to 12. I mean, a lot of children don't at 6, 7 years old. They just don't know the times table, you know, like
I
that.
know my oldest son, when he was 4, he was reading the encyclopedia. And I'm like,
That is
what's he
awesome. That
doing?
is,
He
yeah.
had his head in the encyclopedia, and he would be reading, and I'm like, this there, you know, I just couldn't explain it. But I did send you a link to the best dual diagnosis inpatient in Ohio, specifically for co-occurring treatments. And they do you know, if you have suffering from drug addiction, it is in Columbus, Ohio. It's called
Less.
Ohio Hospital for Psychiatry.
Yes, we know exactly. I know exactly where that is at. It's on the hilltop on the west side of Columbus. We absolutely, I know exactly where that's at. There is absolutely a person right now I know that is there in that psychiatric hospital. that's there right now.
Yes, and they're very good because it's called co-occurring, events
Yes.
that's going on in their life, and they're very good at that. And I do believe that they, while you're detoxing, they do make sure that you're asleep and that you don't go through those. They treat the withdrawal symptoms while you're sleeping.
Yes. And that is what is truly amazing about that program. So again, there's so many that cannot absolutely go through that because there has been so many that so many people I've spoke with that are truly sick about being sick, and they are truly, I think, need to be seen by the diagnostic team so that they can absolutely get, you know, diagnosed
Proper
as to
health.
what, yes, and the proper medications and what they truly need, because so
And
many are not.
yeah, they're not diagnosed. And one of the things that they need to really focus on is changing that person's circle of
Yes,
because okay, so another part of being on the spectrum is addictive behavior. Addictive behavior is when you have a bag of potato chips, you get one, and it's like the Lay's potato chips. No one can eat just one. And you have one beer, you've got to have the whole six pack. You have one puff of weed, you've got to have five ones. Um, it's called an addictive personality, and there's no off button. There's no off button. Once you're in it, you just keep going for it. And that's another part of the spectrum. Unless you change your circle of where you can get these things from, you can detox, you can make it through, you can feel okay. But when you go back to that same circle of behavior, it throws the behavioral therapy out the window too. So it's so critical to get. That's where the behavioral therapy comes in. It kicks in all the things that you're taught, how to coping mechanisms, things like that.
yes, it truly, truly does.
And I think we're going to break for station
Yes,
identification.
yes, we are.
It's your boy DJ BB, coming from the 614, repping that on, no matter what the zip code, on the tattoo shop. You dig?
Welcome back. Welcome back to Healing with Miss Peggy.
And again, I want to thank everyone. and we are here, and we truly want to thank everyone for always joining us. We want to thank, we truly miss America Cole from California for joining us tonight, and always all this great information. Uh, America, can you please tell people, where they can find you and the help that you offer? Um, you are so phenomenal, and truly want to thank you for all of your help. You know, um, for everything that you do. It's truly, you are an inspiration. You have truly been an inspiration to me since I've met you. And I just know that it takes a community, in every community, to speak about addiction, mental health awareness, because there is not enough. There is not enough centers. There's not the doctors, if you're not really asking for their time. So as a parent, caregiver, if you know that your person is struggling with maybe a mental illness, ask the doctor to take a little bit of special time. Ask them to maybe refer them to the psychiatric hospital. Ask them, because if not, they're not going to, it's just, you have 20 minutes and that's it. So really, you have to be an advocate for your health, for your person's health, in order for them to really listen to you, because they're going to hear 5 main questions that you're going to ask. So really be prepared when you go into a doctor, and really have those questions ready, that you have those tests ready, that you want them to maybe run on a loved one that may need, some facilities, medications, diagnosis. Again, dual diagnosis is not being treated, it's not being addressed. And again, we have so many people that are in and out of jails and prisons, that should not be in and out of jails and prisons, because there's been so many that has gotten out and truly wanted and asked, where can I get a place to live, because I have no place to live. There's limited housing, and there is so many programs and so many things that they have to go through and complete before they qualify. Again, people get frustrated. They've already been through so much. I'm not saying giving no one into that instantly. People have to work, be grateful, gratitude, you know, and it's just those things that I think a lot of our high schools maybe need to start addressing, even in middle school, a little bit more, pay a little bit closer attention to a child. If you, like you just said, when you see a child that's being bullied, a teacher see it. Some of them look the other way. There's a handful that's going to go and absolutely fight for that child, because again, here in our city, there are teachers that's being bullied, their cars tires being cut, car windows being busted out. Uh, the teacher has been cut. There's been so much. And again, that has to be, there's mental illnesses that are going on. There is so much anger, so much frustration, so much hostility, and it's not being addressed in our schools. And I have to say this, you know, I was raised that we are one people, one humanity in a world, on a planet. That's the way I was raised. Um, this truly breaks my heart, but there is so many these children are picked on, bullied, looked at if you don't wear a certain brand of clothes, if you look different, if you are different, you are picked on. And teachers know that if they child are, setting back from themselves alone and they are not helping them and they know they're being bullied and they didn't ask the counselor, hey, can you talk to this child? I think they're being bullied. I think that the school as well, because the child is there so many hours a day if they're not homeschooled, you know, that
Yes.
they're spending so much time with their children. Okay. And you have one teacher in a schoolroom of 24 to 30, 32 children, 34. That's a lot. That's a
And they're
lot of
telling the child,
disruptions.
yeah, and to tell a child to sit outside or
Yes.
ostracize them in front of the class, and they already feel different. Here they are now separated, and they feel even
Yes.
picked on by the adult. So yes, and and you hit on something that I will tell you is that people not wearing the same brand clothing. That's why schools opted for uniforms, because nobody could
Yes.
get picked on. However, children that are on the spectrum, they will wear the same thing all the time. They have their favorite clothes, and you can't deviate from that.
Hmm.
And I ran into that in the school where my son, he's on the spectrum, and he didn't want to wear the school uniform. He wanted to wear his clothes, and he was having a fit about his clothes. And I knew he was on the spectrum, so I talked to the school, and they allowed him to wear the clothes until he realized that he got picked on for wearing different clothes in that sense. So he had to experience it first and then realize wear what everyone else has, which was the uniform. And then he was okay with it. But I had to let him wear his clothes. And I'm like, well, you are wearing things that everyone else, I had to reason with him. And then he was okay with the uniform. But it's a learning experience for parents. And when you're an adult that you are on the spectrum, it's okay to, you can go to a psychiatric hospital. That's not a bad thing. You're just asking for a diagnosis. It's okay to say, I think I'm on the spectrum, can you test me? And it's a series, Miss Peggy, a series of questions, and it is a series of math. It's a series of certain things that narrow down what part of the spectrum you're on. Um, a blood test will not indicate if you're on the spectrum. It'll tell you if you have deficiencies in maybe magnesium that helps with your cognitive behavior and stuff like that. But um, going to just any psychiatric hospital is not going to do any good unless they're a dual diagnosis psychiatric hospital, which the one in Columbus is a dual co-occurring, uh, they call it concurrence when you have two things going on, um, psychiatric hospital. And they need to work on the word psychiatric, because that always gives people the feeling that they're crazy, and it's not. They just haven't picked the right wording. But that's where you need to go. Hey, I think I'm on the spectrum. I have a hard time socializing. Can you test me? I'd like to go into behavioral therapy. Behavioral therapy was a godsend for my son. um, it's things that he learned that he would never have processed in his head without the help. So I'm telling people that if you're an adult and you are, have to have your labels turned one way, or it's difficult for you to live with roommates, it's difficult for you to keep friends, or if it's difficult for you to stay into a relationship, go get tested, because you know what? Once you address those issues, all that is gravy. It goes away, and you can deal with living with people and learning what to say and not say, and learning how to clean up after yourself and what people may not like and or care for. It's all learned. It's all learned. Just like we all learned how to tie our shoes, we all learned how to do certain things at certain ages. You're just doing it in adulthood. You're learning things about people, you're learning things about yourself that you didn't even know that was going on. So it's okay. It's okay for an adult to say, hey, you know what, I think there's something going on here. Let me go get that checked, and that way I can feel like, I don't have to keep trying to fit in. And I think that's where your niece is at, just trying to fit in, getting back out, and just trying to fit in.
Yes, she is completely, um, at times, she has been violent. At times, she has been suicidal, especially, because my brother, which is their father, and their mother both has passed away. My nephew was with my brother. Well, he woke up to my brother being passed away, and they were on a cruise, and so being there, my nephew I know deals with post-traumatic stress from that situation, you know. Um, the the daughter, I mean, has truly, or the niece, it's just always been an argument with them when they were growing up. As they got older, having two or three different Thanksgivings because, there's some kind of an issue, or she may want to beat someone up, or, the cops were called. It was just those type things that, you know, it's like you need your medication. Truly, because when she was suicidal, we absolutely called the hospital here to come and get her. It's called Christ Hospital. I think it's in Dayton or Cincinnati. And they came and got her and absolutely took her up there. She was there for 35, maybe 45 days. And when she came back, absolutely on medication, that she was absolutely so happy, so aware of what was going on around her, her personal hygiene, every day take a shower, doing her hair. She never has wore makeup, so that was never a thing, but just always taking care of her. She got back to who she was. She wasn't out trying to do stuff. By 10:30, she was asleep, woke up, wanting to help, and being the person that we know that she is. And so, um, she just quit taking the medication one day. She said, I don't want it. So when she quit, okay, it was like she just started doing drugs. She went out, in and out of jail, in and out of prison, and then now again, still doing and will not go get help.
Wow. And it's like she totally forgot how she felt when she felt wonderful. But what
Yes.
it goes down to is sometimes, and a lot of times, people think that the medication is poisoning them. They
Yes.
do hear voices and they feel like
Yes.
they're being poisoned. And that needs to be addressed with behavioral therapy as well,
Hmm.
because so many people on the spectrum do hear voices. That is normal for people
Hmm.
on the spectrum. That's totally normal because they have a higher sense of um,
Perceptions. And
perception that we don't understand, and they hear things that I could be in a room, I could be 3 or 4 rooms over, and as soon as I say, if I just whisper his name, he heard that. They can
Yeah.
hear, and it's kind of, or they have a feeling, a sense of somebody is thinking something, and I'm like, no way, it's something that's unexplainable because we are not way up there to understand it. We don't hear what they hear. But it also, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago about they will start turning things off because they don't know where the noise or the voice is coming from. And
Hmm.
if you have a lot of people that are on the spectrum that don't know each other and they're saying the same thing, that what they are hearing, it's not something saying kill yourself, is saying don't take your medication. It's
Hmm.
some, they're just trying to poison you, don't take it. There's, they always show the cartoon with the
Hmm.
good angel and the bad
Yes.
angel, and you know
Yes.
there
Hmm.
there's a reason why that cartoon was written, because even
Hmm.
Walt Disney, he was on the spectrum, and maybe he
Yes.
experienced that good guy and the bad guy on the
Yes.
shoulder. But I can tell you that my son would always tell me that, Mom, I want to apologize because the voice in my head told me, why did you talk to her like that? He would tell me exactly what was going on in his head, which I appreciated, because I
Yes.
kept that open dialogue, that that's normal. It's something
Yes.
that society needs to accept, but it could get off the hook if they're not on the right medication. The medication can help quiet it down, and some people it does go away, and some people it just quiets down where it's manageable. And people need to understand that everyone's different. We have a different, how some people can get a ringing in their ears and nobody else hears the ringing?
Hmm.
Same similar thing, except it's actually telling them something good. Like, hey, you might want to go over there and say hi. Hey, there's someone sitting in the corner. Go over there. Go, 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 go. And then they go. They just
Yeah.
do things very differently. And I truly empathize with your niece. And
Thank you
I
so
empathize
much.
with you guys as a family, because all you can do is check on her at this point and encourage her. Just keep encouraging her and let her know it's okay to be different. It's okay.
Yes. Yes. We completely tell her that her uh, brothers, they don't really get along because there has been an excessive, a lot. But even though they don't, the one brother, he always calls and checks on her. Even though she has caused a lot of chaos and hurt and problems for him in his life, she truly has. He is still send her $20 on Cash App, $20 or so when she was in, locked up in prison. Even though she had done all of these things that were
He loves
just,
her.
he
Yeah.
loves her. He still loves her as and so, because that's what they were always taught. No matter what, the world is so cold. Love each other, because one day that's all you're going to have is each other, in a sense of the way the world is, the way people are, you just, we lose so many. And when all of your family members pass away, you know, then that's who you have left. So love them, take care of them, nurture those relationships sometimes that are broken. Those are very important sometimes, to mend what you can, do what you can. We do
Right.
encourage her as much as we can. But again, um, she's 2 or 3 hours and just continues. So we just wish her and hope that she goes. But and as everyone, anyone again that is struggling with any addiction, any mental illness, if you even think that you may even have one, like America said, please go ask the doctor, like she said, it's questions, different things to look at, and they will help you. But anyone, please, if you know someone that is struggling, if you know someone that is being bullied, please say something. Please help them. Please reach out maybe to a teacher, a family member, or someone that may help them, because you may be help saving their life, their children's life. And that's all we're here is just trying to show and share love and let people again know that they're not alone. And again, I thank DJ B Lethal so much for creating Linda's legacy. For the phone call that I got, said, Miss Peg, what are you doing? Well, Jerry, I don't, DJ B Lethal, I don't know. And so here we are 3 years later in our third year of speaking about addiction, raising awareness, talking about domestic violence, talking about any and everything that we can, because there is so much that our communities just are not getting. There's so many funds that are being misplaced, that like with our harm reduction, that helps with the Narcan, the testing strips, with as much things that as they do. They were granted $1 million. A lot of that money was not given to their office. So again, there are so many things that we do speak on. And dual diagnosis, it is just not spoke about enough.
And it's so critical to understand. Family members need to understand, because also it's easy to get bullied within families. And it's
Yes, it
important not
is.
to laugh at the person that has that disability or just shun them in any way, shape, or form, because it's a form of bullying as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it truly, truly is. You know, um, there is just so much and so many that are lost. Um, and we just ask everyone, please uplift everyone that you know, anyone that you know that is struggling, please call and check on them. Um, if you could just take a case of water down to the um, community little drop off place, please do that as well. We have a lot of community boxes in our cities around different areas, parts of town. Any supplies of baby wipes, you could put those in baggies if you possibly can, so that people can just get those clean supplies. It's greatly and it's needed, and it is appreciated by the homeless, because again, a lot of them are scared to go and get help. So please reach out to them. Please check on them. Um, please be safe. Do not go into homeless camps alone. That is very, very, very dangerous. Please go with an organization, a church that is already affiliated. Go with harm reduction or teams that are out there on the street. That is very important as well. America, would you like to let people know where they can find you, so that any services that you can offer to help as well? And again, you are so greatly appreciated. Um, just everything that you speak on, your knowledge, you you're phenomenal. We are just blessed to be here, in your presence, for you to just share everything you have shared with us. You are greatly
Yes,
appreciated.
thank you so much. And speaking of phenomenal, DJ B Lethal, thank you so much for this platform, Miss Peggy, for offering this platform. You've been doing it for 3 years. An amazing, amazing team. I couldn't be more blessed to be with people. She says, I'm phenomenal. I'm phenomenal with everybody in combination, because this is stuff that needs to be told. And you can find me on Facebook. My name is right there on the screen. Merica Cole. Go ahead and find me on Facebook. You can message me anytime. I will reach out. I can help you find a dual diagnosis center. I can help you find help. Even, we talk about fentanyl with drug induced homicide. I help people get cases opened, because when people are found on the street and they have been poisoned by fentanyl, sometimes it is a crime and sometimes it is something that somebody's given them. They didn't even know they were taking. So druginducedhomicide.org, you can donate to that, and you can find me on Facebook. I will help you find the nearest dual diagnosis center to your city in which you live, and how you can get arrangements to get there. So there's a lot of resources that I can help you with. And I thank Autumn's Way for, you doing what you do, Miss Peggy, because it is true. You are not alone. There's so many people that will check on you, that will see if you're okay, check on your friends, and take items to your community if you can afford to do so. Everything is greatly appreciated by the homeless. Just saying hello to them is a big deal. They don't have anybody that shows kindness. Um, it's a world in which we're a little bit self-centered. So just reaching out to people and saying hi is a blessing to some people, and most people, I can tell you that most people appreciate it. So yeah, find me on Facebook, message me, send me a friend request, whatever you want to do. I'll help you out. Miss Peggy, you already know you can reach out to me when it comes to your niece. We can, mesh things and mesh ideas together, and we'll get your niece the help that she needs. We'll work together. It's important.
Yes, because you were all the way in California and you truly helped all the way in Minnesota. So, you are a blessing to so many and so many children and so many families. And we, never going to stop what we're doing. We will always continue the fight against addiction, trying to search and find answers against mental health and ways to help bring peace and comfort to anyone that is struggling. Here at Autumn's Way, we just offer love, uplifting, rehabs, anything that we can do to help our community, to give back, to make our families stronger, so that the children succeed. You know, that's what we do. It's just, we're blessed with everyone that shares. It's truly a blessing. DJ Be Lethal, sir. Excuse me. Can you please, sir, put the Cash App at the bottom? Anyone that wants to please donate to the station. It's so important. DJ Be Lethal does so much and he works so hard. He has created so much. And without Linda's legacy, Linda, we love you. That is DJ Cash App, signed DJ Be Lethal, LLC Cash App to support. It is running at the bottom. You will see the show played. It will be in different groups and everywhere. But again, I want to thank everyone. DJ Be Lethal, we thank you so much. Shout out to Rain Tree. I love you forever. I want to shout out to my Misty, my Steffi. I want to lift up Jen, Chrissy, everyone, Big C, Nikki, You know, our autumn, we are sending out autumn angel hugs and love to anyone that needs some love. We thank you. We love y'all. And we will see y'all right here again next Tuesday night. Everyone stay blessed. And we hope your angels come and visit you in your dreams. Good night, family.
Good night.
DJ B. Lee, coming from the 614, repping that O, no matter what the zip code, on the Tattoo Shop Radio. You did, I knew you could.